The picture would have been better
So,
without my
do we have
shadow.
anything to add to the,
Sail?
Yep, we have some changes.
Pat, is this the sunfish or sailfish? I keep forgetting.
Sunfish.
That's the
Ocean
sun.
sunfish.
Yeah.
The one that you said, picture that you
Yeah.
sent?
Oh, the big one with the big head?
Yeah.
Oh, they're all over the place right now.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Sailfish looks like a marlin, and then it has this big giant.
Oh, that's right, that's when
sailfish.
people
It's a
now-
sport fish.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
sent
the
us the picture, big
Yeah.
fish.
See, now I don't even remember what I sent. Better be careful. Yikes.
So do we have this trail maintenance thing on the agenda tonight?
Yeah, I think
volunteers for
Carol-
trails
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
on here.
Yep.
Okay.
And Teague Sherman Park is an addition to the agenda.
We have 3 that are going to be continuing. 20 Monticello is going to be on for November 5th. 181 Edward Foster, November 5th. And the Border Street driveway crossing is also November 5th. And there are a couple of projects that we gave times to, so they can't be heard before a certain time.
I don't see him in.
John Clarkson we have on for 6:45.
Okay.
The Glades Marsh alteration, 7:15. And Shoalwater COC for 7:30.
Okay.
And then I think 30 in a harbor, I think we had down for 7:10. But there's 2 different projects. I think we should do them together at 7:10.
Okay, so Clarkson was what time?
Clarkson was 6:45.
Okay.
Change from 6:35?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's down for
Listed at
6:35.
6:35.
Oh, okay, I might have told him, but if he's here at 6:35, we can.
All right. Okay.
I make a motion, we accept the agenda with the amendments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, you want to just jump into these RDAs, or do you want to knock off anything else first?
Yeah, I think whatever you like.
Okay. So, Howe at 92 Clap Road. that was continued?
Has anybody been by to see if the trampoline is still there? All right, that's the only thing we're waiting for, and we said give you to the end of the summer, but well, I haven't been up that way.
If we're there,
last week.
despite the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we continue Town 9 Clap Road to November.
Want me to go by there?
I emailed them and I didn't hear back, but I'll be out there between now and then, so
I can go by.
So it's a,
long haul for you.
My way.
refresh my memory, it's an RDA for a deck, but
There
we're
was
waiting
a-
on some changes, because this
There was
isn't...
there was an old order of conditions, and then there was an RDA file without the old order being closed out.
Okay.
So the trampoline of that comes out, and plantings, a couple of plantings are required to go in,
Okay.
and they're all set.
So we got a motion and a second to,
Yep, we do.
and continue it to when, Penny?
November 5th.
November 5th, and it's an RDA, so there's no time.
Okay.
Just need to take a
All
vote.
in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
So you're on it. And so, Barry, at 20 Monticello, we're gonna continue that to November 5th?
Yep.
Have we made any headway there at all?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're trying to either get a surveyor or approve where the lot line is, so. We got an email today, I just sent it out, but I got it late in the day.
All they have to-
Email system's been down for 2 days in Town Hall.
All they have to do is go to the registry of deeds.
Yeah, no, they didn't want to, that's why.
Yeah.
And you know why.
Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
But, next meeting, if they haven't rectified this, I say we just tell them to remove it.
I can tell you right now, that they're not in compliance with their lot.
Right. No,
The,
It's just a
somebody was
game,
saying
it's
that
just-
the registry of deeds, sometimes you really can't see a plot plan or anything. They don't have them for some of the old ones. This house goes back to the 40s.
how long ago were we out there? This
Oh,
summer.
we were out there
This summer.
more
Right,
than,
and we said you either need a survey or a plot plan, and here
Right.
we said a month later, that's really simple to get.
yeah.
And it's just like smoke and mirrors, how long, it's a simple thing.
Right.
How long's it gonna go on?
Right, there was correspondence back and forth. I think there was some misunderstanding about the whole request that we made.
You're being generous, Pat.
Yeah, there was
They're
no
5 feet
I
onto
made
the
it,
next
I made
lot.
it very clear.
Oh,
I
no,
don't,
no, yeah.
I know,
yeah.
I understand
Okay.
that. I understand we have to
Right.
continue it.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion that,
But
It's unclear about
to
plot
November
plan.
5th, but I think Paul's
right.
comments are well noted.
Yeah.
It's time to get this
Yeah.
one. Otherwise, we'll just have 40 of these things that will
Yep.
continue
I agree with
forever.
Paul,
Already
too.
do.
Enough is enough. I make a motion that we continue the hearing on 20 Monticello to November 5th.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Oh, your turn.
Grant, 21 Kings Way. Hi. Just read this piece and then you can. On October 15th, during the 6:15 meeting at Town Hall, Scituate Conservation Commission will act on the request of Jordan and Emily Grant for a determination of applicability to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Scituate Wetlands Bylaw for a two-story addition in the location of an existing three-season porch on property located at 21 Kingsway, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Good evening.
Hi, thanks.
You Mr. Grant?
I am.
And your project is?
We have plans for a two-story addition. There's an existing three-season porch there now, which I think was part of the original structure in 1968. It does not have long left in its lifespan, so we intend to put a two-story addition on for a four-season room where the existing porch is, and a master bedroom and bathroom above it, and an existing family room that is just a single story.
Okay.
You want the plans?
Yeah, can I just?
Oh, this is probably better.
Yeah, it's existing and what they'd like to do.
At Pat's recommendation, I provided a plot plan with the existing, and overlaid in red is the proposed foundation footprint.
So the bump out.
Toward the rear of the house.
Here, it's just out of the 50.
Okay.
So on mine, there's a red line where this is the new addition, and there's a dotted line within that that is the current porch.
Right.
And then beyond that, there's a dotted line. Is that the foundation where there's existing deck? Or there's,
That's the existing deck, yeah, outside the porch.
okay, so
The
there's,
existing deck actually encroaches into the zone
okay.
based on that.
And you're not going any further than that?
No.
With anything, because there's some lines shown on there. Maybe you could explain what those are.
Sure, the lines that you see with the foot and inches marks are the dimensions that the architect drew in to show you the width and depth of that addition.
Yeah, so it's actually being pulled back, because right now the deck's in the 50.
It is,
And the new
yeah.
structure is gonna bump the 50 and not encroach inside it.
Yeah, we're doing that obviously intentionally. We had
Right.
our architect take a look at the setback there and had her do plans that would be outside that 50-foot zone.
Did you see this, Penny?
Yeah.
Penny, you have any questions? What kind of foundation? Board?
It's going to be, yeah, footers with poured concrete, where we'll have, because the house is elevated, we'll have a 4-foot crawl space underneath the first floor. So we're going to do a, I guess, 2 or 3 inch pour, so that we'll have storage space underneath the first floor with access from the back of the house.
I don't have any problems with the addition, it is under 50. Pat and I have been out there, and there is a little concerned about some of the stuff that's out there that I'll let Pat address.
Well, there's, I did a measurement of the wetland line. It's an old wetland line, but it's pretty clear where the wetland is. The yard kind of drops off into a wetland. And it's not shown on the plan, but there's a small shed in the back right, and then there's like a trampoline area with sand, and it's got footings, and that's in the yard close to the wetland too. And then there's a pile of debris. Looks like tree clippings, yard clippings, and it's a big pile back on the edge of the wetland on the back left. I would, recommend that would come out. Some of the shed falls smaller than the size. That building requires a permit, so it never came before conservation, but it is in the back. And, we're trying to keep everything outside the 50, including things like sheds. And, I mean, the swing set's okay, kids will outgrow that, and, there's nothing impervious with that, but.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the shed, because there was nothing going into the ground for that, I didn't realize I needed to come before the
Yeah,
commission,
it's-
so I'd be happy to do that
Uh,
retrospectively, and if need be, relocate it to other place on the property. We've got a couple of locations that could be moved to.
Yeah, the thing is, it was on existing lawn. It wasn't that anything had to be cut to put it there. It's just that if you had come before us with the shed, there probably would have been an attempt to
Pull it back from the
closer to
50,
house.
yeah.
I see,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I think that this is upside, we're pulling stuff back from the 50, so I think that this is upside. And there's adequate room to get at everything without trampling through.
Yeah,
The things we're
it didn't
protecting.
seem like there's gonna be a change of grade out there. It
No.
just- yeah.
No, no
Okay, I'm
change.
good.
Yeah, with those provisions that the cuttings are removed and the shed's moved.
Yeah,
Perfect.
the shed is, up for discussion. I don't know what you think.
Well,
Is it a metal?
Can it be moved?
I haven't looked into it, it's a pretty heavy shed.
Is it sitting on concrete, on blocks? Or is it on the ground?
Half of it is on blocks because
uneven.
the slope there is uneven, so, but it's just sitting on the ground, there are no footers in the ground or anything. I haven't tried to measure how heavy it is. They came in and put it up, it's 12 by 8, I think. It would be an ordeal certainly to try to move it in one piece. I think it would probably need to come apart and be moved, so.
How big a hazard is it?
I don't know. It was on existing lawn. I don't know how long it's been there.
We put it in, I think, a year or two after we moved in, so that would have been about 2008.
Take a look at it, see how feasible
I
it
mean,
is, and then we'll see
I
what
would
goes.
think the brush could come out. This is a good size. This is a truckload of brush on the back lot. and
Yeah,
that
we-
would be a big help. Have that come out.
I can definitely remove that. We had taken an oak tree down that was in the front of the house, right on the road that had seen better days too, and I put a replacement tree in there. We took the oak tree down, I cut up the limbs, used most of it for firewood, but some of the limbs are still sitting back there waiting to get removed, which
We could get that
I can
out of there.
definitely do
That'd
this
be
fall.
a big help.
Is the brush in the wetland, or is it just in the buffer?
Right about on, within a few feet, within 3
Because-
feet or so.
We don't want to see it placed in the wetlands, but
Oh, yeah.
we don't have a real restriction on a brush pile in a buffer zone.
It's close. We have a 50 no touch, but
Right, but if it's already a yard, I know what you're saying, yeah, and you're not in the
I always thought a
resource.
brush pile was a little bit of habitat for,
This is a big brush pile. This is a lot of brush.
Again, I intended to, and I'll be happy to remove it this fall,
Okay.
for sure.
But the only thing, and you probably intend to, but I didn't see it anywhere on here, this is all downgrade towards the wetland, you'll need a silt sock.
Yeah, I imagine the contractor will be doing that with, hay bales and all
Yeah.
the rest of it there when they start digging that foundation, yeah. They had to do the similar thing for the raised septic on the other side of the house.
right.
Did you check that the septic's okay with the extra bedroom? Are you?
Yeah, we're actually not adding, it's a net even in terms of the number of bedrooms. We're
Oh.
converting one of them into a hallway, so.
Lisa?
Nope, I'm good.
Good.
Jim?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
So, any other comments from,
No, I think that's, we can get something cleaned up in the back in exchange for.
okay.
Do your thing, girl.
I make a motion for -3,
Wow.
and with
With the
the,
existing conditions.
with the conditions that the brush will be removed and cleaned up back there.
And a silt,
And the silk
Silk
sock.
Yeah, but we used to put that in
Definitely put
anyway.
out.
Be in the
Yeah.
conditions
hay
anyway,
bales and
wouldn't it?
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
something.
But
Second?
this is an RDA.
I know,
Okay,
but we sometimes condition ideas.
Yeah. okay. So we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There you go. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for
Good luck.
coming in, appreciate it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you can tell us.
Nice.
All right.
Cares, obviously.
So we can continue Missoula, right?
Well, wait a minute.
The-
Going to
yeah,
7:10.
The issue is that they're doing a hearing tonight on the septic in another building. And they're probably started by now. I mean, there may be some answer on the septic. If we wait and do both.
At
Talk
7:10.
about both at 7:10, if that's better? Okay. Do
Okay.
you have someone from your family over at the other hearing too, or?
No.
Oh, okay.
Terry McGovern's over there.
Terry, okay, well, if he
And
wants
he's
to.
gonna give me a call after.
Oh, okay, all right.
So let's bring them up
All
then.
right.
So we'll just put that on.
Well, do we,
We have several we can do before.
why do we have it one for 6:30 and 7:10?
There
Two
was
different
one that had
things.
been continued from the last meeting, the septic one.
Oh, I see, the walkway.
And the
is
walkway,
fixed.
yeah.
Okay,
It was split off the walkway, yeah.
Yeah.
all right,
This is that great time system we have.
all right.
Well, and then we got, the other one came in.
Right, and then when somebody cancels something, we have a big hole, yeah.
Okay. Well, but Mr. Clarkson just came in and filled that whole void, so we're all set.
Beautiful.
Do you want to wait a little bit, or do you want to jump in?
Whatever. I apologize for my tardiness.
You're up. You're not tardy.
No,
You're
That
right
clock's a
on
little
time.
fast, so
5 minutes early is on time. On time is late.
That's right.
That's right.
I don't know if I subscribe to that.
Huh?
Yeah, Frank wouldn't.
Frank
like
won't,
that,
but we
yeah.
do.
It's one of those few rules that if you
Not
learn,
10 minutes early,
you
you're
will
late.
go far in life.
Yeah.
Trouble is, I learned it too late, but
No
anyway.
comment.
Thank you. I want to thank your conservation agent, Pat, for setting this up, and I especially want to thank him for calling me this afternoon, since I had totally forgotten about this.
And we didn't have email, so we had to call.
So, anyway, hi, my name is John Clarkson. I'm chairman of the Scituate Water Resources Committee, and we are an advisory committee to the Board of Selectmen on all issues water, essentially. But one of our primary focuses has been on the drinking water supplies for Scituate. We have had a couple of busy years. Last year at town meeting, we had a redesignation of our Water Resources Protection District that was a very strong focus towards water quality. Over the next 6 months, I believe, the town will be renewing its Water Management Act permit with the Department of Environmental Protection. Some people are not aware. The use of water as a resource in communities all across the Commonwealth is allocated, which means you can't just put water in a pipe and go off and sell it to your customers. There is a determination by the Department of Environmental Protection about how much water is actually available for use. To draw an analogy, which another lesson I should have learned much younger days, think of your checkbook. You can't take out more than what you put in. And so hydrologic analysis are made of the community, and right now we're operating under a Water Management Act allocation of 1.85 million gallons a day. We're actually quite close to that. But as part of that permit renewal, the department also asked that a water conservation plan be developed. Now, this is normally done in a very simple process. There's a questionnaire that the water department fills out, and it becomes a very nice conversation between the head of the water department and the Department of Environmental Protection, and these forms are available online. But we, with the Water Resources Committee, thought it would be a good idea to broaden the engagement of the community in the development of this water conservation plan. So we started about a year ago. We had a public meeting down at the old Pier 44, what do they call that now, the Scituate Community Center?
Situate Harbor Community Center.
Pardon me?
Situate Harbor Community.
It's Pier 44.
Yeah, he
And,
was way off, huh, Frank?
And since then, we've had the wonderful assistance of a student, Caroline Keefe, who is now at Villanova University. She helped us. We looked at other plans in the similar community. Actually, that questionnaire I referred to earlier became the model for it. But this becomes more of just a dry questionnaire, more of a document that the community can read, the community can understand, and provides general guidance for decision makers in years to come as to what items should be done. And so I have provided copies. I have provided the document to all of you. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. What the general plan, or what the hope is that I'm going to, this is my first board hearing, so be gentle. I'm not sure exactly what to expect, but I'm also going to go to the planning board. I'm trying to schedule time with the Economic Development Committee. I'll take your recommendations on other good Scituate boards I should go to, get some more feedback, reconvene the townwide public meeting on what our current draft is. So by the time we go back to the selectmen and say, this is a good plan and the community supports it, the selectmen know that it's not just one committee who drafted something in a quiet corner and brought it to them, but there is significant community support and significant community buy-in on the strategies outlined in the plan. And so that's just a general introduction of what we're up to, and I would welcome your questions. I'll try to answer them as best I can, and if I don't have an answer, I'll make up something snappy or tell you I'll get back to you.
Well,
But
weren't you with the Board of Selectmen a while ago? Didn't I not see you with them on water sprinklers?
yes,
Yes, that was
at their last meeting.
quite a meeting. But you won, right? I mean, essentially, they passed the resolution with your
The
recommendation.
Board of Selectmen have, so, quite a meeting, yes, quite a meeting, and that there was no opposition in the room.
Right.
And just to fill the rest of you in, being concerned about the future water supplies of the community to be able to meet the public health, public safety, and economic development of the community. Let's divide water. Tell me, scold me if I'm falling too back into the weeds, but let's divide water into water and finished water. Finished water, when you turn on the tap, has gone through treatment, is as safe for you to cook with as it is to bathe your newborn in, and also what the public safety officials rely upon during emergencies. The finished water is what we're limited at 1.85 million gallons a day. Currently going through the permit renewal now. DEP has a general focus of reducing statewide, community by community, those water use. And what we're looking at is, we need to preserve water for residents. And there are enough houses in the pipeline, about 300 residential units. That equates to about 600, 700 new residents. At 65 gallons per person per day, they're going to eat up whatever's left in our current permit threshold. So what we said is, let's make sure water is held in reserve for public health and safety and economic development, and not for ornamental use. And so what the selectmen voted the other night is that there will be no new hookups of underground irrigation systems to the finished water supply. Existing systems are fine. We're not reaching back. Previous research has shown that 5% of the Scituate water customers use a significant amount, I think it's like 25 to 30% of the water in the summer, and it's primarily attributable to ornamental watering. And we're saying, you can't have water for residents if we're using it on lawns.
Especially if it's finished water.
Right. So what we're suggesting is that there are other alternatives, and the Water Resources Committee recognizes its responsibility to work with developers and work with the community, informing them about cistern systems, local irrigation wells, things of that nature. But the selectmen agreed with us that new hookups of irrigation systems were no longer to be permitted.
Well, you bring up wells, and as I said, I watched it. It was fascinating, by the way. And one of the concerns was that if we don't let people use their water sprinklers, or we don't allow them, then they'll just dig wells. So really, my question is twofold in this. First of all, who controls whether you can dig a well or not on your property? Second of all, if we do have people digging wells, am I to understand that it's still from the same aquifer? So if they dug, and with the understanding that it's not finished water, but if a new project were to come into town and we say we don't have the capacity, in our water system to allow you to hook up, they say, all right, we'll just dig wells. Is that not coming from the same water source?
So what you're asking is, if you have the big bowl, aren't you just encouraging people to put more straws in the bowl and suck it out? And to an extent, you're right, but we've, through part of the new source approval system, the zones of contribution of the Scituate water supply wells are well mapped. And also because of protections and zoning laws and things that have to be put in place, part of the Water Resource Protection District, quite honestly, that the likelihood that there'd be a lot of individual wells going into those areas is very slim. Most of the development is happening outside of the primary zones of contribution to our drinking water system.
Is there a governing body that allows or disallows digging a well? I mean, who do they have to come to say, I want to dig a well in my backyard?
There is in Scituate none. If someone wants to put in a private well, they can, provided they are not withdrawing more than 100,000 gallons a day. If they're withdrawing more than 100,000 gallons a day, then they have to get a Water Management Act permit from the state, the Department of Environmental Protection. Let's just put 100,000 gallons per day in perspective. 40 gallons per minute, 24 hours a day, 60 minutes an hour. So these are large use.
Yeah.
The private irrigation wells don't come anywhere near that.
Very educational. Thank you for your time.
Sure.
I'm going to jump in with a related question since you're on
Sure.
there. You can drive a short ways away and go to Rhode Island and people drill a well and hook it up to their house and have their own water. Why do we not allow that here? Having heard what you just said, that a lot of the wells wouldn't even be in the same region as our,
So as far as water supply for your home, the board, that's a question for the Board of Health. I don't think there's
Okay.
any, I'm gonna kind of stick my neck out on a reach here. We'll have to check with your new Board of Health person who I met last week and
but that's a
figured her name
tremendous
already.
way to take a strain off the town. I mean, there's a lot of states
there
and a
is-
lot of towns that allow people, they drill a well and hook it up to your house.
I think
There are a lot of communities in Massachusetts that operate on private wells. There are 351, actually 352, but don't get into that.
Okay.
351 communities in Massachusetts, and there are only 288 public water supply systems. Those other communities are communities where the homes are primarily private wells. Now, much of that is in the 413 area code, the western part of the state, but no, you can still do that in Massachusetts. You have to be subject to the rules of the public health on the quality of the water.
So when you said you didn't need permission to dig a well,
Right.
that didn't pertain to that? A
No,
private
you
well?
can't hook it up to your house and,
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between potable water
yeah.
and.
Right, where'd you
You see the signs that say sprinkler, private
so-
well,
so,
sprinkler?
I took his first question as a private well for
So you
irrigation.
don't need permission if you're just gonna, you're
Right.
not gonna consume it, you're just gonna water. But if
Yeah.
you're gonna do like an artesian well
Because
to
then you
supply
have
your
setbacks
house.
from other septic systems, there are other regulations to put in a
Okay,
potable.
well, that was leading up to my next question. Yeah, okay.
Right.
So then, if you were going to dig a private well, who do you go to?
There are private well operators out there, and they are licensed. Private well operators are licensed by the Department of Conservation and
I mean
Recreation.
with the town. Where do you start with the town?
With the building department and the Board of Health, I would imagine. But just make sure we're distinguishing
Yeah.
a private well built for irrigation systems
Versus consumer?
versus a private well built for the entire household system. Those are very different creatures. What we were talking about the other night at the Selectmen's meeting and in my conversation with Mr. Schmidt, I think was focused on private wells for the irrigation system. And most irrigation people know who to call to get the private well. I used to own a lawn care service, and there's a great company down in Hanover that provides private well services.
Penny, or what you do?
No, I'm,
I'm going to ask a question that I think I already know the answer to, but there is a section of town, Humrock, that takes its water from Marshfield.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that included in the 1.85?
No.
Per day?
No, they get, that's 170,000 gallons per day on average,
Yep.
and that water is purchased from the town of Marshfield,
Right.
and town of Marshfield has to incorporate that into their water supply permit.
Thank you.
Shit.
Not the answer I expected.
Pat,
Well, I just wondered, how would you like us to get back to you, John, on this? I mean, people have a chance to look through the report, and you want comments, or do you want a vote, or?
Two-step process. I would like comments. I would like it if the comments could be focused through one individual, and that person would be cited in the opening of the report as the liaison. And the comments can come back for updates and upgrades to the report. And then, once you're comfortable, I've either answered back, gee, we considered this, but no, or great idea, let's add that into page 12. Once we've been through those revisions, what we would like is, when we do bring it to the Board of Selectmen, which will probably be late November or early December at this point, there be a letter of support from the Conservation Commission for the plan.
Rosemary?
Guys, I live in Humrock, and Richard asked my first question. My second question is, my understanding has always been that in Humrock, we are required to abide by whichever town has the more stringent rules. Do you know, is that, but nobody else seems to think that's the case that I've talked to, so do you happen to know?
Well, that's a good question. I don't have an answer off the top of my head, but if you make sure that I can get your name and contact information, I'll be happy to get back to you. I don't honestly know at the moment what their rules are on lawn irrigation, but,
I do think if, whatever the rules are, I do think they need to be publicized more
yes.
clearly.
Is that
Right.
something we could find out from the water department? I mean, not
Yeah.
to...
I don't know.
Because Situate's still paying for it.
I'd be happy to follow up with you. I'll double check with Mr. DeBarris. But yes, as far as the irrigation rule is concerned, it's a townwide rule, so you are subject to that rule in Hummerock. What other rules are, I'm not sure, but what other rules might exist.
Stringent. But anyway, you don't need to research that. I will, I know I can ask at the water department, I just
Okay.
haven't, and since you were here, but
Sure. James DeBarris would be the individual to talk to.
thank you.
He's the water department superintendent.
For Marshfield or for Scituate?
Scituate.
Scituate.
John, there was a few different studies going on. I looked at the one that they're talking about elevating the reservoir, like making more capacity. Obviously, our commission is concerned with water, both in terms of having drinking water, but also working with like North and South River to make sure that there's more flow for
Right.
the Herring Brook and things like that. So it benefits a whole array of things in our regard, and we certainly, I think, would support these efforts 100%. But is there anything Scituate can do? I mean, are they looking into, say, additional wells? I mean, the town's going to grow regardless, and so certainly conservation would be the right step to take in many areas, but also wondering if we need to add more wells. Is that part of that?
Well, so there are a couple of things. Part of what is the underlying impetus behind this plan is that conservation is our first and best new source of water. Are we blessed with limitless supply? No. But if we care the most for the water we currently have, we can make it go much farther than what we're currently doing. And so that's pretty much a driver behind this plan. As far as new source development, eventually we do need to take a look at it, and part of the conversation we had with the selectmen last week was that it's probably best to look at it sooner rather than later. There are 3 properties that were eyed for new source development a few years ago, but each of those, 2 of them have been determined to be not viable sources. The third, now that the Greenbush train has been restored, not speaking against the train, people know I take it every day, but now that the train is running through it, it is no longer viable as a source because of the setbacks you have to the well. A couple of years ago, I did do a GIS analysis of potential new water supplies that I ran across. I had forgotten I had done it. And I ran across it, and I shared it with Jim DeBarris last week. And we're going to start taking a look to see what the disposition of some of those properties are. We have done no testing to see if there's actually water there. It's just a simple analysis that was performed by the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs back in the late 90s, that if you take current land use, you take a look at, as well as soil determinations, you can determine whether there may be a potential water supply area because it has sufficient setbacks and everything else. So we are going to start taking a look at some of that. As far as raising the reservoir is concerned, raising the reservoir is primarily going to improve the stream flows of the brook and be able to provide flow over the dam structure at critical times of habitat restoration. The raising the reservoir is likely not to provide a significant increase in drinkable water supply. Right now, we've pretty much got the plans done through 2 grants that were provided by the Department of Environmental Protection to the town. And we are now on the hunt for, I believe, $1.25 million to make alterations to the dam structure to raise the height of the reservoir should it ever rain again. And there will be some new source from that, but it is primarily intended to provide habitat restoration.
Do they think the improvements to the water lines, I know part of it's a quality issue, but do they have much loss in water? Broken lines, cracked lines? Do they have any read on?
Yes, that's going to be a big contributor. We are replacing approximately 24 miles of line. That's about 23% of our system. It is a huge expense, which no one enjoys facing, but sooner or later you have to face it. The unaccounted for water in Scituate has been in the 15 to 20% range over recent years. It's been very high. And replacing these old water lines is not only going to improve the groundwater system, groundwater issue across the town, it will definitely tighten up the system. The statewide goal for unaccounted for water is 10% or less. And we thought we were at that point last year, and then we recalculated and realized we were up around 14. But yes, we're tightening the lines by replacing the water system and really attacking 2 problems with 1 good act.
Great, thank you.
How are we this year in terms of water conditions? Is this the worst that we've seen in a long time?
This is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Because of the lack of rain. I can't give you rainfall figures. I can tell you I haven't mowed my lawn since the end of July. And I was just looking that I might do it this weekend, but maybe not. It's October. And we have had a very rough spell. The reservoir is 74, 76 inches thereabouts below where it should be. And if you just drive by the reservoir, it tells the story.
Things that I've never seen before.
Yeah, it's a Martian landscape, but So it has been a very difficult. Apparently, these dry conditions have been more prevalent in southeastern Massachusetts, not so much in other parts of the state. There is something called the Drought Advisory Committee in the state, and I was recently in conversation with the person that has to convene it, and I said, why haven't you convened the Drought Advisory Committee and declared a drought? Well, apparently because it hasn't been a statewide condition, it's been more localized to southeastern Massachusetts, which I was not aware of.
Anybody else?
So if you just want to get back to me with who
What's the
your
time?
liaison,
Yeah.
I'd like this to be all wrapped up middle to end of November.
I'd vote Lisa as the liaison.
Oh, she doesn't look. This is not a happy face.
You guys are supposed to just jump right in.
I think that you,
We'll send all our comments to you, Lisa.
Bill, I think that you showed
So
remarkable
great,
interest in
yeah.
this.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do it. I think it's a fascinating subject. I appreciate your time and efforts.
Then we'll send all our comments
Yeah,
to
send
you.
I
it to
might,
me.
I might dog you a little bit on that, but.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm intrigued as well. I think it's a great.
So before I leave tonight, I'll leave you my contact information, and then we'll set up a communication, and like I said, it's easier for me if it funnels through, but, you know, if anybody has a thought or a concern, I do want you to feel free to be in touch. All right?
Appreciate the time.
Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate your time. Come on then.
I should put water liaison here, but we'll just
figure
leave
it
it. Yeah, all right.
You're gonna need new cards now.
Water boy.
He looks like a quick learner. Thank you, John. Right.
Does everybody have a
Listen.
copy of this? It was sent out, there were two drafts, there was,
Yeah, it's, we got the whole thing on our email.
Yeah.
And I printed it out.
What date did that go out?
I don't know. if it's-
Thursday last
a
week?
few weeks ago.
No, just last week.
It was
The
Wednesday
second
or Thursday
second
last
one
week.
came out.
If you've got it like close at hand, why don't you resend it to me?
Okay, I will send it to you.
Thanks.
I'll find it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
You guys disappoint me.
Do we want to, finish up the notice of intents?
We could do Oliver.
Or where do you want to go?
What, does Oliver have a set time on there?
Yeah,
7 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, some of the other ones we can't start till after that, so.
So why don't we do Fagan at
24 Oliver.
24 Oliver? On October 15th, 2014, 7 PM, the Town Hall Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 of the Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of, is it Sean?
Yes.
Fagan to repair a septic system on property located at 24 Oliver Street, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. I didn't get one either, did you?
I do not see that email there.
All right, thanks. For the record, my name is Jeff Bassett with Morse Engineering. This is a septic repair at 24 Oliver Street. This property is fairly large for Humrock's property. It's about 14,000 square feet in size. It is, this portion of the property is on the ocean, but there is a house here, so I would call it one house removed from the beach itself. And it's currently developed with a cottage-like house. I'm not sure if it's year-round or not. It's a 6-bedroom house. And then the majority of this area is all used as a gravelly sand driveway. The portion up here where we're not proposing any work is dunes. The resource areas include all of, well, this area of Humrock is a barrier beach, and it's in a FEMA zone AO of 2 feet of water. Currently, they have a failed cesspool. It's a very small cesspool. It's only about 2.5 feet deep, and then it has an overflow pipe, a perforated pipe on it. We're proposing to replace that with a fairly simple system. It runs by gravity to a 1,500-gallon concrete septic tank, then to a distribution box, and then a leaching field made up of the ARC 36 standard chambers. We've tucked this over as far over into this corner as we can because that area receives the least traffic, and you really should avoid driving over these systems whenever you can.
Okay?
No, I don't have any questions. If you need a septic, it looks all right to me.
I should inform you that the Board of Health reviewed this. They had one comment where they wanted to see an adjustment for the high tide elevation. We did a 9-foot tide, they want to adjust it to 11. So I've given them those revised plans, and they haven't looked at them yet, but I do anticipate they won't have any other comments.
Bill?
How far is the leaching field away from the water, the beach?
Well, it's got that whole house in front of it, so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like,
Your
250
land
feet.
quotient is over here.
The place on the left, when
Atlantic
you look at the
Ocean is
map, Bill,
So
there's a
it-
house.
It's a good distance,
yeah.
okay?
About as far as mine is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so this distribution box design is a fairly standard design?
Yeah, the two types of systems that we mainly see are either it runs by gravity and you'll have a distribution box, or it's pressure fed, and then it's the distribution box, you have one pipe coming in, and then in this case, 6 pipes coming out, 7 pipes. So it just it's laid perfectly level and the flow disperses evenly. If we were pressure dosing it, then it would have a manifold and then laterals that ran down each row of chambers. So that's how you would evenly distribute the flow.
Thank you.
No questions.
No questions.
Lisa?
Nothing.
Pat?
So right now, it's an existing cesspool, too. It's not even
so.
Title
we'll
V
fill that.
type of system. Is there any other site work proposed, or is it just in that area where the leaching field and the box are gonna go?
Correct. That's the only work proposed in the immediate area.
There's a lot of vegetation on the beach side of the house, and there's some vegetation in there, but it looks like you can avoid taking up all of that vegetation on that left side.
Yeah, the vegetation is pretty scarce. There's some along the property line, which is kind of creates a buffer between the roadway itself and the house. That can be preserved. I think right in this corner, there might be some of those thorn bushes that you see on the beach. The
Rose
roses.
Yeah.
I think there's one of those that might have to be removed, but it's a pretty small one.
There's
It
not much
probably
there,
can be
Pat.
removed. Yeah. The real nice dunes are over here where we aren't disturbing. And then this area in here is nicer too.
Yeah.
And if you're in the A zone, you can have somewhat of a raised system, so that's what Board of Health is addressing with you now, to get above the 11 feet, or?
No, what they were looking at is, whenever we do test pits near the water, we do them at high tide.
Right.
So in this case, it was noon on, I think, August 25th, so that's when we did the test pits. But it was a 9-foot high tide.
But that wouldn't
Yeah.
cause the system to have to be constructed at a higher elevation, or?
I brought it up 2 inches,
Oh, yeah.
so negligible, I would say. It still flows by gravity and everything.
So just as a matter of interest, it doesn't go by FEMA flood plans, or you just go by whatever the mean high tide is?
We go based on groundwater, and in nice sand very close to the water, when the tide comes up, it does, you see it come up in the Burkle. I've done test pits where we dig down and then we're kind of waiting for the tide to come in, and you actually see it bubble up the bottom of the test pit hole. So
you were-
no, it's not the floodplain. The floodplain would be quite a bit higher.
That's a different set of,
Because if
set
you,
of rules,
if you-
yeah.
if you dug a test pit in February, I think you'd find a lot more water than if you dug it now.
But it's more relevant to the tide. If you have a 13-foot tide, the water is going to be the way it
I don't
migrates through the
think that
sand.
the
It's relevant to
rain,
the tide, yeah.
in Humrock, I'm not sure that the
Oh,
rain
don't worry
makes...
about rain.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about rain.
We're not worried about rain.
Right.
Worry about that ocean.
Okay, well, anyway, it's been It's an improvement from what's there, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
When will Board of Health have their final vote on this?
It's approved by the agent because we aren't asking for any variances. So I would hope she would have time to look at it tomorrow.
I'm good.
I mean, we just got
I'm good.
somebody to
Yeah.
unless they're-
Is there anybody in the audience for this? Oliver Street?
I make a motion to close, and it's all gonna hinge on the board.
POH. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a question for you. Is Tom Chamberlain here? Oh. Can we talk to you?
Oh, okay. I never did get it.
I didn't see the pictures. I thought you sent a picture.
Oh, so you have to get the fine.
Oh, because it was too big. Did you see it? But you've been.
Yeah.
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 Oh, God, yeah.
It's just
Everything else is
with
fixable.
the,
So what do we want to,
Yeah, we can't start one of them until 10 after. I could go through a couple of quick things if you want.
Okay?
There's
Yeah.
political signs on the salt marsh as you go down.
I saw that. I almost took a picture and put question RDA or NOI,
Yeah,
or
well,
minor activities.
it has come to us. Last year it was taken care of by the building department. It was of a certain size and it was removed, but it's on private property. And he had thought it was on public property, and that's why he took it. So he's been told by an attorney he can't pull them out of there. So it's come to us as, is this something that we can allow in a salt marsh? I mean.
You know what's
maybe-
tricky, though?
Maybe 2 isn't a big deal, but maybe 50 would be.
Well, you know what's tricky, though? I don't know if you recall, like, somebody did a art thing that was stakes with, like, ribbons and stuff in the marsh, and it looked good, and
Oh, yeah.
you've seen some other stuff. So, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
where is it?
it's right on 3A.
Yeah, it's the one past
It's-
PJ's?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Just
Neil
like
took it down.
Couple of
No.
signs.
He took it down last year, but then he was told it's private property and he can't remove it unless there's some other violation with the sign.
Whose sign is it?
It doesn't matter.
So-
Doesn't
Well,
matter.
No, but Neil just took
There
one
is.
down about a month ago.
There
Yeah,
is
this
a,
one he can't.
there
So
is an
Came to us.
existing law about signs within a certain amount of feet, just on,
But our purview is it a wetlands issue?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't care
All
about,
right, are they disturbing the wetlands, putting
Right.
posts
that's the
in
only
there?
thing I
Yeah.
care about.
Yeah,
good point.
So,
I just don't think you had to walk out there to put it.
Yeah, so we can.
but again, we're gonna make a stand on this. We wanna think about some other things that people do with the marsh. I mean, like I say, I've seen,
The cow, they had that
Yeah.
wooden cow. out
yeah,
there,
I mean, I don't know if it's a significant impact to really fuss about it. I just don't wanna wind up, I don't think it's our purview to be involved with political signs.
Yeah, unless there's
If
a,
somebody
Unless it becomes
drove,
litter.
there are
Right.
zoning laws, so they, if they apply, then.
right,
Yeah, there's also the definition of alteration too. Is
Yeah.
what triggers alteration? A post put in, a sign that comes out at the end of the month different, so.
personally, I don't think we need to go down that road, but that's,
Right.
The only thing I would say is, I agree, but I would think that we should be able to get them to get it out of there after the election.
yeah, if things are left behind or if it's litter, then it should be gone, but, and I mean, I don't even recall whose sign is out there, but I just think that we're gonna be treading on a whole bunch of other issues if we wanna do that.
So do we mention to the person, we'll leave it up till November and then you gotta take it out, or?
Well, we don't want it left, yeah, I mean, it's certainly
want it
not,
there as
it's not
litter.
permanent.
There may be some type of a footing that each election, someone can come along and put things back into. It may be that it's not two new posts put in there recently.
I mean, these are, look to me, when I saw it, like it's just maybe a 1-inch diameter
Might be
stake.
setting in something, but
Well, if it's more than just a stake driven in the marsh, then maybe that's an issue, but to me, it just looked like a couple of stakes.
I will
Nothing,
tell 'em.
nothing should be left behind when they remove the signs. Everything should go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when these guys are surveying something and they drop some stakes in there, we don't get a filing for that sort of.
Sorry, I gotta get out.
All right.
It's just one more thing.
What else?
They canceled the meeting that was scheduled with the planning board on changing the zoning size for a buildable lot. I
Right.
haven't heard if they're gonna be coming back on that, but I think that was, that everybody let their feelings be known on that, because that would, make a lot of the current unbuildable lots buildable very close to wetlands, so.
Is it an article for town meeting?
I think they were getting ready to do that. I think that's why they're going to the planning board to feel it out, see if they were gonna have some support there.
Okay.
But there's nothing that I know of proposed yet as an article.
I don't think it's on yet, anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Did you see the email?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question.
Can they
Go
do
read
that
'em.
without us? Can planning board do that without conservation?
Yeah, because we have regulations about how far they can be to a wetland, but the percentage of the lot that has wetland on it, that's outside of us. That's more of a.
Right, our setbacks all still
Yeah,
apply.
right.
They can say you
This is
need
a
10,000
percentage,
square
right,
feet to
right.
build, you need 50,000
Right.
square feet. And it
It's
really
not a great
doesn't,
idea, but our hands are kind of tied
Yep.
because.
Gotcha.
Well, we certainly could voice
We have
our
input.
opinion.
Oh, we're
Right.
doing,
Yeah. Okay. What else, Pat?
You want to do the 710?
Yeah, it is something.
When we
Sure.
have, we could see if both Missoula projects can be on, or,
Yep, let's do it.
well, but maybe read both of them, I guess.
I don't see a time for, the Glades.
It isn't, it's just on the.
It's
an
7:15, we talked about. At the beginning of the meeting, we said 7:15.
Well, it's 7:15 now, so if we're waiting a few more minutes to hear on the Board of Health, we can do, you haven't heard yet, right? All right, so let's
Wanna do that?
let's move on to some other,
We're all here for the Glades.
great, so let's do that.
Okay, this goes back a while from the summer. There was some alteration out there, and we contacted the property owners, and then we had Martha Reinhardt, who's a wetland salt marsh expert and wetland specialist. Well, take a look at the marsh, see what she found out there, and maybe come up with recommendations. So, I don't know if you got the report that was, you did get it, okay, because the
Yep.
email wasn't working. And then if Martha could go through her report, and she has photos too.
yeah, the photos didn't come through because I guess the file was too big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just came through now, but they weren't available till.
So Pat and Lisa and I went out there. Is everybody else familiar with what we're talking about? Okay. So maybe we want to start with Martha first?
Yep.
That's okay?
Hi, good evening.
How are you?
Hello.
Fine, thank you. How are you? Good. My name's Martha Reinhardt, and I'm a restoration ecologist and a professional wetland scientist. And I went out to the site back in August with Pat to look at an area of disturbance on both the coastal beach and the salt marsh. And from what I understand, an excavator, some type of equipment had gone down to the beach, and it appears that the tidal creek on the back side of the beach, which the beach stretches down in the southwest part of Glades Road, there's a fringing marsh in front, and then a coastal beach to the east of that, which is comprised mostly of fine sand with the overtopping of shell and gravel to cobble-sized stone. And then there is a larger salt marsh complex back behind that beach. And it appears that there were tracks going the length of the beach to the area of salt marsh where it appears that the natural channel that is there had been excavated out. And I do have some numbers in the report. We measured approximately 117 feet in length and 6 to 8 feet in width. And it appears that that material that had been excavated from the creek had then been deposited on both sides of the existing marsh. And that there had also been some fill, it appears, on the beach area, along with an area approximately 2,125 square feet in an area of some pretty good ruts around where probably the machine turned around. That area, as you probably know, is also priority habitat for piping plover and common terns and least terns. So there's a question there whether the habitat there was disturbed, because typically those birds nest just above the high tide line, which is where the disturbance occurred. And in both areas where the elevations have changed, new vegetation has come in that wouldn't normally be found in that area. There's a plant called sea blight, which I can show you the pictures. That has now started to grow in the areas that are higher in elevation now than the regular salt marsh, cordgrass, or salt marsh hay. And then also it's colonized in some of the areas of the beach where it likely hadn't been there before. So in my report, I've tried to calculate the areas of impacts, and the amount of fill was in the salt marsh was approximately 2 feet in average in depth, and we measured that with a soil auger to look where the native soil was underlain by the fill material. And so recommendations are to restore the site back to at the pre-impact elevation and try to restore the natural hydrology that was changed by the ditching. And then to work in consultation with the Natural Heritage Program to restore the areas on their beach back to appropriate nesting habitat for the birds, working in conjunction with Natural Heritage. So I'm happy to show you to Mr. Chairman. The report does have photos first of the beach and then of the marsh. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Actually, I've been out there, so you guys want to go back and forth. You want to,
I really think the report speaks for itself, that they've got to put it back the way it was and not do it again.
Now, this is a National Heritage designated site too, right?
what we'll do, if you don't mind, what we usually do is just go through the committee members. You'll certainly have your opportunity to speak to this as well, okay?
Yeah, this is shown on the Natural Heritage map as a habitat area.
Now, is there an osprey nest in the area
There's a
too?
pole right near there, yeah.
Yep, okay. No.
Sorry.
Yep, no, I'm good, Frank, thanks.
I think you can see the osprey nest in one of the pictures
Okay.
as well.
Richard?
No, I think the report speaks for itself. I have no problems with it.
It needs to be restored.
Paul?
Yeah, it needs to be restored.
Lisa?
No, I think she pretty much summed it up. It has to be returned the way it was.
Chip?
No comments, I'm pretty much in agreement.
Okay, thanks. Pat, do you want to add?
Well, right, this report came in from Plymouth County Mosquito Control, who have a license to do some work out there as it is. They maintain the ditches. This looked like an attempt to expand and get more flushing into an area, but it was the wrong season with the wrong equipment and in the wrong area. So we actually got a call from the Army Corps of Engineers, who wants to hear back on what has gone on, and DEP. DEP said, make sure you coordinate with Natural Heritage. And so DEP said, you know, once an enforcement order is in place, they'll back us up in any way we need to. And I said that, you know, we've we've spoken with the property owners, and they have been cooperative in coming to meetings, and we're waiting to hear Martha's recommendations. So I think that's where we are.
Okay. All right. From the audience? If you don't mind stating your name and...
My name is Charlene Ames.
I'm a lifelong resident of Glades, summer resident, now we're full-time residents there. My family's been there for 125 years. I've spent my whole life wandering up and down that beach. I think I know it as well as anybody alive today. I think it's really important that you understand what the mosquito control people do every year and why they do it and how they've worked it out with the resource people to make sure that we have a proper balance between health of the town citizens, and the environmental quality of this wonderful beach that we have and marsh. We care about the environment as much as anybody else, but we also have to survive the onslaught of mosquitoes, which affect people in Minot and other parts of Scituate as well as us. And that's a real health problem because of encephalitis, as you know. And so there was an understanding worked out between the health department here in Scituate, Jennifer Sullivan, and the people from the federal and state agencies concerned with the environment, in which we are able to dredge this marsh every year, as we have been doing for at least 100 years, in a way that's done before the nesting of the least terns, which were there temporarily when this all most recently surfaced. And the violation that occurred here was to do a little bit more digging outside of the April 30 deadline. It was done in May. May 27th. Your report says it was done in July. It was done in May. We can prove that. And the problem was that the depth of the outlet had not been dug deep enough to provide adequate drainage of the marsh, and the mosquitoes were continuing to lay their eggs and breed, and it was producing a nightmare for the people who are resident in the area. So I don't make any excuses for us for going out of season without getting the consent of all the authorities, and there are many of them involved, before we did so. But the fact is that there are people in there dredging this place every year. And so when we hear that there are 7 inches worth of fill that have been put up, we might be responsible for an inch of that, but the rest is the mosquito control periodic process. The real problem with this ditch, which has to be maintained every year for health reasons, is that it washes in annually, requiring machinery to go out there every year, which is where these ruts come from. We can't be held responsible for the ruts that are put in by the mosquito control people. And you know, if you read the report, by the way, you'd never know the mosquito control people were in there every year doing the same thing we did. So, you know, there's a little bit of we feel like we're being blamed for something which is a routine and acknowledged and permitted activity, just trying to enhance that activity. And so, you know, if you want us to take off the first 1 inch, we could do that. But if you tell us to take off the 7 inches that the mosquito control people have been doing over the years, that seems unreasonable to us. Now, the best thing to do here, the best remediation, because I think you agree with us that we need to deal with mosquitoes as well as preserving the environment as best we can and keep a harmony between those two, balance between those two objectives. The best thing to do would be to allow us to plant more natural beach grass on the ocean side of this outlet, so as to build up a natural dune so that it doesn't blow in every year with the loose sand and shale that was described to you, which is the real problem. It blows in, it stops up the marsh, we begin to get the Phragmites and other freshwater growths that occur in the marsh. We don't get the bird life that we would have gotten when there is free flow of salt water in there. And so the question is, what's the right thing to do here for the environment that's consistent with the health of the citizens? And I think you really have to think about that before just putting a rubber stamp on this report and saying you're responsible for all the ruts and so forth that have ever been put in for dredging this marsh. It's not that we went out and dredged it to build a building or something. We're dredging it for the equality of the environment as we as human beings feel sensitive, as well as being sensitive as we are to how this beach appears and how open it is to wildlife. We know all about the osprey and when it's nesting and when it's not. We're very familiar with least terns. We look for them. The common terns, we find their eggs. We make sure they're protected. We go out of our way to promote bird life out there. We're all interested in the birds. They're after all, the swallows are the ones that eat the insects, and we totally understand the life of this marsh. But please don't tell us to be responsible for the negative effects of the digging process that's been blessed by everyone. The only point about that deadline is lease terms. Lease terms were long gone. They were there for a year, they've been gone ever since. So that was the reason for that date. And so, if you ask us to remediate digging this marsh slightly out of sequence, then fine, we can restore the 1 inch of soil or whatever it is. But if you think about longer term solutions, you should think about the solutions that will allow us naturally to avoid having to dig out this ditch every year through the mosquito control people. So that's really what I wanted to say. I think you should understand that we're as concerned about this environment down there as anybody else. We've grown up with it, we live with it, we care about it. We've spent our lives walking up and down it, and I just think you're selling us short if you think that we've gone in and dug all this stuff without respect for the environment, because we haven't.
Yes, ma'am.
One factual thing.
Sure.
The out-of-season digging took place for 1 day, May 25th. The mosquito control people were working on that ditch from the entire month of March. They were there from March 1st to the end of March. So the tracks that you're seeing are mainly the mosquito control people. The work that was done out of season was for 1 day. So mosquito control did all that.
It was 4 hours.
It was 4 hours.
For getting out there, opening the end up, and then put some gate posts in.
Sure.
It was a 1 day. You got paperwork that shows the rental.
Can I just maybe, a couple of things. There's a bunch of items on our agenda tonight for continuations, for people that ignore our request to deal with an issue. So first off, the fact that you're here and concerned about this isn't a witch hunt, and we're trying to deal with a violation in the proper method of doing that. I understand that the mosquito control works. They have permits for these things. They have equipment that are set up to do this sort of thing. Their machinery has flotation. I'm not saying they always do the perfect job, but as you point out, mosquitoes, encephalitis, all those sort of things are a real issue. And so we can understand the concern for doing that work. They have guidelines and times that they're supposed to do the work and be done by that period of time. I believe they have regulations on how much material they're supposed to put on the marsh. I think they have to spread it. I remember reading, it's been quite some time, but they're supposed to follow these best practices sort of thing. Someone that goes in and does work that's not permitted, maybe with some machinery that's not totally set up to do that work, can do a lot of damage in a relatively short period of time. So even if it's only 1 day or 4 hours, if they're not properly instructed or properly permitted to do that, they can do a fair amount of damage. I can appreciate what you're saying. I mean, in a way, that little beach almost acts like a small barrier beach. When the weather comes into Cohasset Harbor and pushes against there, the amount of debris and whatnot that gets pushed up in the marsh is phenomenal. It goes all the way back into the glades. It goes all the way up where you are, old lobster pots, and And it also carries all that overwash and into that brook. And I think it was during the Nemo storm, if I'm correct, the DPW actually cleaned out a ditch between Peggotty Beach and the Driftway. There was an area that washed over substantially, and they had to clear that. It's a little different environment. It's mostly cobble, but it was a marsh, and they cleared that to keep that water flowing. So, I mean, it is done, but it really needs to be done with some permission and with some thought in mind. And I think what would be important, we have a very good report on things that need to be done there. I'd rather be working with the Glades Association to figure out a long-term solution. And I'm not sure that there's a perfect one, because there's going to be continued overwash. We have to be thinking about the environment. I know that you're sensitive to that. And I do believe that we can come to some way to work with this, so that that whole back area, if you don't deal with it, that whole marsh that's between your access road and that barrier beach can be a big breeding ground for mosquitoes, and I can see that. I think we could see it while we're out there, but we have to find a way to do this work in a permittable sense, and we have a base for that. And you know, I can't speak to your comment about whether 1 inch should be removed or 3 inch. I mean, I think that's up to folks like Ms. Reinhardt that can say these are the things that need to be done here. But maybe there's another solution that would benefit, that you could live with, at the same time would be environmentally correct for that area. Does that make sense?
Could maybe Ms. Reinhardt could take what I said and maybe work with us to provide a plan that allowed us to come up with a more permanent solution. That would be, if we could take the time to do that between now and a continued meeting, that would be a great benefit for us, I think.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I think we could continue and we could have that conversation. I had a question about the mosquito control people going out there. Was this ditch ever part of their plan? Have they ever done work on this particular ditch?
Yes, exactly. It's exactly the same ditch. It just, we tried to dig it just a little bit deeper. That was the only thing. We didn't try to widen it.
It was out at the mouth. The mouth had silted over, so there was no drainage, there was nothing going on. So that's why we went out there, and because the mosquitoes were so bad, and tried to open it up. But the main creek was all mosquito control.
And one of the issues was the summer before this summer, I think everybody remembers how incredibly bad mosquitoes were. I mean, I was talking to lobstermen coming in Scituate Harbor, and they were saying, we've never seen mosquitoes as bad as what we've had. It was just unbelievably bad. So this spring, when we were allowed to dig, there's a window until April 1st, I believe. We had those mosquito control people in there on March 1st, and they were digging away. But March was a terrible month. There were a lot of storms, and it was really hard for them to get out there and actually do efficient digging. So the guy was out there literally on March 31st trying to open it up to get the seawater to come in and start the washing. And he was unable to finish the job because of the weather.
But if there is an emergency situation for that, again, there is methods that can be dealt with, but it's getting people out there that know where the birds are, if there are any. I mean, there's a whole process to go through to deal with that. And I know it seems difficult, and it takes time, and it can be expensive.
Well, with all due respect,
Sure.
Chairman Snow, we used to do something that was very damaging, I mean, more damaging, which was we used to.
Careful, you're on TV.
Okay. Well, we used to actually dig a canal right through the beach.
We being the South Shore Mosquito.
The South Shore Mosquito.
Sure.
It was an efficient way.
They used sprayed DDT a long time ago, too.
It was an efficient way to quickly drain out the marsh.
Right.
But it also filled in every single year.
Sure.
And it was a terrible eyesore, it went right through the beach, straight out to the water.
Yep.
And now we're following the
No, I
natural
think
stream.
what you have out there seems correct, but.
So we met
Yeah.
with all of the powers that be, with the Audubon Society, with the Natural Resources Society, with the Scituate Conservation Commission. We had a big powwow. We discussed, and the Health Department, Jennifer Sullivan was there. And we said, we've got to find a solution that works for everybody. And Jennifer Sullivan finally said, we also have to find a solution that ends these mosquitoes because of these otherwise various things, viruses. So instead of this gash, they followed this much longer sally winder. That was a natural sally winder that went out into the ocean. But every year, it would get blocked. And so mosquito control started digging that one out. Much longer, so it took them more time, more energy. So I think it did. I think that's why in March, they were unable to finally get it out. It was just longer than taking a shorter gash.
When mosquito control does the work in the marsh, in that area, do they access the marsh through your property?
Yes.
Yeah, and then they drive along the beach.
They come out the road and park.
And then park and then go along that,
Then take the machine out on the top of the dune there.
okay.
All the way across.
So that's where they access that
Yeah.
Glades Marsh, is from your property.
Well, you know, what worked best for us, we should follow the rules, we should follow the permitting system. I completely agree with that. But we'd like to enlist your help
Oh, well,
in providing a solution that works in order to avoid our being killed by these mosquitoes. I mean, they're just unbelievable. You can't go outside when they're bad. And they are bad every time that stream stops up.
Right.
So we get quite exercised over it, and, we did the wrong thing here. We shouldn't do it again, we won't. I'm sure of that.
Well, I'm sure you're not the first. I mean, over the years, there's been a lot of things altered and a lot of things sprayed and a lot of things done we want to correct that, and I think we have a lot more science to show that we can do a better job and a more sensitive job, and I think that's where we want to get to.
But we'd love to renegotiate that date, which was just set 3 years ago. That is an April 1 date, because the problem is, you clean it out by April 1, and you still get storms, late spring storms. They come along and wash it in May 15th.
Well, Tom's got some young guys that could go out with a shovel and.
You let us take a shovel? You let us take a shovel.
I think that we need to address this, and I'm not trying to, it's serious, and, there's so few terns, plovers, that sort of thing, that we can't afford to have nests run over, and we can't just arbitrarily alter some of these, whether the state follows every guideline they're supposed to, we can't know that for certain, but we can try our best to make sure that these are protected. And at the same time, just like dredging a harbor or there's other things, these things can be dealt with. And so I think that's important. Pat, do you have a,
Yeah, getting back to what you can do on the beach, one of the things that we recommend on the beach, you're not able to do there because it's a nesting area, like you're talking about planting beach grasses. And we do recommend that in a lot of areas in the town, and let the sand build up, and that would protect the back marsh. But because of the nesting area, they don't want a sand dune created in that area, the beach with the pieces of shell. So it's something we'd have to go through natural heritage with.
Sure.
There'd still be plenty of beach.
Sure, but there has to be some give and take between them and the health department here to produce a solution that works for everybody.
Right, I think that's what Frank is saying, that we should sit, and we're gonna get more than just those people in this room involved.
Absolutely. I mean, we had congressmen involved and senators and so forth, and because it rose to that level. And, people really keyed in on this. It's a
Sure.
big deal.
And when Jennifer Sullivan said, people's health trumps birds' health.
well, we've had issues with her before.
Permission to dredge out that little creek. I just want to also say,
Sure.
we are more than happy if in that 4 hours, we took earth and piled it up and didn't spread it the way it should have been spread. we're more than happy, more than.
But I think
happy to
what
spread. But
Ms.
to
Reinhardt
take
pointed
it,
out, though, is that
Put it back into the,
when you build that up at the wrong level, then you wind up with getting other plant material and invasives. One of the reasons that the mosquito control spread that fairly evenly
Right.
is that you don't want mounds, because then you wind up with other growth that's not native or natural.
the suggestion that we take it and spread it out makes a lot of sense, but that if we take it and put it back into the channel,
Mhm.
we're trying to allow the natural seawater to flush in, that, to me, seems like going in the wrong direction.
Well,
Because then you're clogging up the marsh, you're letting the Phragmites grow, you're only gonna let salt water won't come in to flush it, it becomes more like a brackish water. It's a breeding ground for mosquitoes. I don't think it really helps the bird life either.
I don't, again, I think as Pat said, it's not for us to design or dictate tonight, but I think that we could
We'd love to work.
try to work on that, if that seems like a good. How we go about that,
I think we need a little more time than the next meeting, before the next meeting, maybe another 5 weeks or so, or we could, and
correct me, you're working for
For the town.
the town, okay, but, is there a reason?
well, actually, what we did was we have one person that reviewed it, and for this meeting purpose, but I mean, if we're gonna do anything else, we'd have to talk with Martha and see what makes sense. If we decide we wanna do, work with you guys in restoration based on what natural heritage says,
And you have to get back to the Army Corps as well.
I have to get back to them, yeah, they're interested.
Okay. But there must not, I mean, have you got any idea how many cubic yards were moved? I mean, it may not even trigger
Yeah.
their
They
interest.
received the call, so they called us.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
But I gotta imagine that the amount of material that's moved hardly gets to their
Oh, yeah.
attention.
No way.
What would be helpful, if there were any old permits, you mentioned working with Jennifer Sullivan, or permits with other organizations, if you had those and we could look through what was agreed to in the past, that would be helpful.
Well, the permits all run to the Scituate, the South Shore Mosquito Control.
So your arrangement was directly with them?
So, well, we're just citizens dealing with them and with the health department and with the.
Right, do you have any information on how?
Getting the old permits that they use?
Yeah.
Army Corps of Engineer permits.
Whatever the permits are, we'll try to dig them out, sure.
Yeah, that would be helpful, because I mean, there might have been some things they recommended that will work again. or-
I'm sure they have copies of them, so we'll just try to, they're always busy, but we'll try to get.
Okay,
get
yeah,
through
because
them.
then we could look through those and then plan to get together, either outside of a hearing, just have a meeting somewhere.
Right. Okay.
And we can keep Martha in the loop and see what makes sense.
Well, I-
So a motion to continue?
So we need a motion to continue.
Yes,
19th?
he said 5.
And just for the record,
Okay.
mosquito control is in Martha's report.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
That, it was kind of mentioned that it wasn't, but it is in the report she did.
So what do we have, Penny? What's the date?
Okay, it would be November 19th, and, we kind of just had this under an enforcement way through Chamberlain Marsh disturbance. So I
And if we
don't,
wanted to have a meeting outside of a public
Yeah.
forum, we could too.
Yeah, once you guys get some stuff together, we can discuss it. And why don't we just say, let's get something back to us? Doesn't even have to be everybody here, but we want to hear back by then.
Okay.
All right?
November 19th?
yeah.
Okay?
So I'm
Just
gonna
keep
write
us
it
up,
down.
appraised to some progress and.
Tom, I have your number and address. I go through you for.
That's fine.
for this? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So it really wouldn't even be the
I'm
amount.
just saying November 1.
No, we're just
No.
leaving it
Okay.
open, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
There you
just
go.
gonna write down marsh disturbance, something.
Do you want this report back?
Motion to make Penny write that down.
That'd be great,
Yeah,
thank you.
there you go.
Okay.
No, I'm just going to do hangout there
Alternative
on
the
that.
19th, I have a board meeting. that night.
Yeah, we just picked it because it wasn't our next meeting. If the- with
You know what,
the
and you don't
other
even
thing-
have to be, we just want to get updated
Okay,
on
that's a
some
date I
progress.
can't do, that's one thing.
Yeah, but if,
Well, I could come and give them an update if that.
Yeah, or even something in writing. We just want to know that it's moving forward.
Yeah,
Great.
Okay, and if there's something prior to that, and you want to shoot us an email or give Pat a call and say, here's where we're at, that'd be great.
Good, okay, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for
If you have
coming
some
in.
revelation that you want to just come to the next meeting and have it all done, that'd be awesome, too.
That's good, too.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
You.
I know, I mean, that's what, think of how many of these we just bump from one week to the next, because nobody,
Take
I
care.
mean, the discussion wasn't framed very well.
Volunteers for trails.
It's 4
Penny.
hours of
Yes.
We have a thing on here, volunteers, we're just gonna knock off a couple of things.
Oh, okay, yes,
the letter that came in.
What are you talking about, volunteers for trails? Did you say you wanted to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my status right now, I talked to Howard talked to Ernie Foster. I got them some maps today. We're looking at the wheelwright property to do a loop in there from the Maxwell Trust Trail. I have two questions to ask you, but they're going to, Howard's away this weekend, he's up country, so next week they're gonna go out and flag a trail, and then anyone who wants, we can go take a look at what they're thinking of doing. They would like to. And Kim Ryan told Howard what she was interested in doing was a web page with the location of all the trails in town. So that's his take on what Kim Ryan wanted to do. I have not talked to him.
So I had a conversation with Ernie and with Howard before.
Yes.
And if we're gonna build any new trails,
Mhm.
I think it's great. They could go out, they could flag them.
Right.
If they could plot them, or mark them, and then we should just take a look at them before anybody does any cutting
Exactly. That's how it stands.
on the property. And am I confused, because on the other group, the email that I saw from Kim Ryan.
Kim Ryan.
Right.
We've been inviting a group to come to meetings since the summer. Is there another group?
See, I don't.
Bill Blake.
Ernie got together with Howard.
Yeah, and I know what they're
think
doing.
he's separate.
Yeah, that's,
So I guess Kim Ryan's group is another group.
but we have been in some, I thought it was Kim Ryan, maybe it's somebody
It
else.
was Kim Ryan. and they
But she
haven't
was
come.
trying to reach you for a date.
But,
And she didn't get a date.
but I thought we, all through the summer, it seemed like we were inviting
Her to come and they
them
never
to come,
came.
and we could never, and it wasn't from, I mean, we have meetings every 2 weeks.
Right, no, we told her to set up a meeting, and then she was told to contact you, and then had trouble reaching you, so never really had a date. We never proposed a date to her.
I mean, my thought is, and I said it to Carol, just tell them to come to a meeting.
Anytime you want, yeah. Who's Bill Blake? I mean, he's the guy that's saying he has posted often to say he's organized a group of people to hit the trails and do the work.
Well, I think what's important, and I'm thrilled that there's that many people that are interested in being out on these trails and in doing that. And I don't think we want to discourage, we don't want to discourage anybody. But I would like to meet those folks. If they have a small group or whoever they want to have come to a meeting, let's discuss it. And just like, I met with a scout the other day, and he's
Yeah,
gonna
right.
do a parking lot. And if we can have some sort of coordinated effort.
Yeah, qualify what they're gonna do and how they're gonna do
That
it.
would be fantastic.
Yeah, so
I think maybe we could just ask that a representative or two from that group come to a meeting.
Sure.
I did ask, and she said it was short notice, but she'd try.
Okay, all right. Well, let her know when our
anytime they
meetings
want.
are, and
And
we,
if they can't make a meeting, then we'll meet.
and
with
we
them.
don't want to discourage anybody
No.
from
No,
doing that,
no.
but we'd like to,
Well,
I
but at
think,
least we do have a group that is, they have a plan in their head, and they're.
yeah.
We'll go
And
To
out
hear
of our
that-
way.
To hear that there's 60-some-odd people that are communicating and watching over these trails and stuff is great.
Well, that's the whole thing. Could I just ask you a question, okay, about the wheelwright? I did find a map with elevations there, all. Was there a survey map done?
Yep.
Who hasn't?
We should have a copy somewhere, but
We
if
don't.
not a CPC, but, yeah, everything that we acquire has to.
That's what I figured.
Has to be surveyed.
Okay.
Maybe we'll have to ask Cindy if she's got a copy.
All right, who would be the CPC person that would?
Oh, I'll tell you who it's not.
There's a file here, well, now it's Karen Conley, so maybe you could get with Karen and get access to the,
Yeah, all right, because he was asking, were there flags put out there where the property lines were?
I walked it a long time ago. We actually walked in from Beechwood.
Yeah, I did too.
But I can't remember.
I'm falling asleep.
My guess is
He
it's.
just doesn't want to go on somebody else's property.
Right.
And I said,
There's a lot of stone walls, there's some good mapping, but I don't have that.
so we don't know where that is. 'Cause
Well, it's gotta-
My map that I found up here was old,
Okay.
but it at least gave him some
Yeah, I
property
think
lines.
we should definitely have it in the CPC folder, and we should be able to find out who surveyed it. And it may be in DPW, but I know that there's plans.
Okay, well, I'll try and scoff that up.
Because there's actually a little piece of it that's in Cohasset.
I know.
So who's getting back to Kim Ryan and this other guy, Bill Blake,
Carol.
saying, come on down?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Okay?
All right, and I'm taking care of Howard and Ernie and you too.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. And if you have a problem finding that, let me know, and I can ask Cindy if she's still got some, because
Well,
I know we
can ask
have
Howard
it.
to ask her.
Yep.
Because I'm not.
Okay.
Okay, because he was looking,
All right, we're just still in time. We're gonna get back to the
Yeah.
stuff, because,
no, okay, so that's good, that's good.
okay.
Okay, we have both hearings for 30 in a harbor, so you should probably read them off.
Can we do it right now?
Yep.
Only one will have to do that.
Yeah,
when's
one's
the
a
continuing?
one's continued. On October 15th, 2014, 7:10 PM, Town Hall, Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws, Section 30700, Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Geraldine Mazzola to install a seasonal removable walkway on property located at 30 Inner Harbor Road, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. And then at the same time, we're discussing the septic repair, correct?
I'm going to request a continuance on that. The Board of Health met at 7 o'clock. They talked about it for a while, but the chairman was absent. The other two members wanted to walk the site and get DEP's opinion on it. So that's been continued for 2 weeks. So we'll continue the septic and only talk about the walkway aspect.
Okay.
But we actually
3
need
weeks from now, too.
Yeah,
so
we
they
need a
will-
motion.
Okay, wait a minute,
So let's do a continuance.
okay, until the 5th or the 19th?
Well, he needs 3 weeks, so
He
it's gonna
needs
be
3, so it'll have to be the 19th.
19.
Okay, I make a motion to continue, 30 in the harbor septic till November 19th at 6:30.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
What?
I thought he was saying 3 weeks from now was good. Did you say 3 weeks from now would be good?
Yeah, that could be because the
Oh,
Board
yeah,
of
that
Health.
That would be the
5th.
5th.
That would be the
5th. That's what I thought he was saying, because they'll meet in 2 weeks.
Okay, I
And
make a
then we have a
motion
weekend.
that we
Yeah, please.
continue 30 in the Harbor Road, Missoula to November 5th at 6:30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
You got a lot of stuff scheduled, you got it covered.
Whether it ever-
Okay, so again, this project is not related to the septic.
No.
For the record, my name is Jeff Hassett with Morse Engineering. The owner of the property, Geraldine Mazzola, is sitting in the back. And what she's looking to do here is, this is her house. There are decks on either side, the road and her driveway. And the back of her house and the deck extend right to the property line. There's an area owned by the town of Scituate here where she currently walks, they walk to the beach. She would like to put down a seasonal detachable staircase and seasonal walkway. It won't be a permanent structure. There are planks that will go on the ground and be removed at the end of the season when storms would occur. So there's no footings. This area is all sand. There's no vegetation that would be removed. So that's the extent of this project.
You're saying stairs?
Stairs,
Stairs
yeah,
where?
where stairs, what?
I don't
There's-
see where stairs are needed.
Detachable
They're-
season.
This is their deck here.
Yeah.
From the deck down to
The
the,
deck down to the beach.
But I thought there's a staircase, but it faces the road, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so you can't still use that?
You could, you have to then walk around.
That's like 10 feet, walking around.
How
I mean,
many-
I don't see the necessity of putting another staircase in where you already have one.
What they're asking is,
How many stairs are you talking about?
so you'd be okay walking down the steps towards the
Yeah.
driveway and then coming around?
Not towards the right, I would go to the left so that I wouldn't be on my abutter's property.
Okay, so would you walk under the deck?
You would go under the deck and up.
Okay, so yeah, we could do it without the steps.
Pardon me?
Yeah, we could do it without the
Down-
steps.
Down the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were there. Down the stairs, then just go around under the deck and up to the beach.
So
I think you have an agreement there.
what is the construction material? I mean, what is it made of?
It'd be constructed of wood.
So
decking.
slats, the things that kind of roll out, or?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
sections of decking. Each section would maybe be maybe 4 feet long, so you could pick them up and remove them at the end of the
Why would it
season.
have to be that instead of like the neighbor has, the slats with the rope?
But she has a roll-up.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what we do, similar
Okay.
thing.
yeah, and not, I don't think I'm crazy about the idea of the decking, but the roll-up is,
But then you have to get down, right, to the beach. Do you not need a separate stairs? As,
not the way the dune is right now. I mean, I was out there today and you could just keep walking,
well, that's fine.
yeah.
I like that.
I mean, if the dune, if you get a 10
Change.
feet of sand in this winter, then,
Yeah, it changes every winter.
yeah. Well, what I'm saying, though, what I personally would do, I would just extend the roll-up.
To the other side.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as though it's a permanent thing, it would,
It's actually better for the dune. If everyone just keeps
Everybody
walking.
concentrates in
right,
one area, the
You
25
erode the
people
dune.
walk.
then you have a
Right.
pathway where
Yeah.
the weight is.
But-
Keeps
distributed.
kicking the sand out, yeah.
But
I-
for me to clarify that situation, this isn't private property, right? It's town land, right? So everybody would be able to use it, is that right? Do I have that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, one of the issues now is that a fence has been erected parallel to the shore, to the water, along that area there. It's like a wooden snow fence type of thing.
Yeah.
And that was agreed to a long time ago. It's not something that, you know, we would probably prefer people do. You know, you could cross over the dunes, but I think that was put there to prevent access from Inner Harbor Road onto the beach for the public, or people coming over the dune. So some of the people actually have gates at the end of this, and I don't know, you're not proposing a gate at the beach end, are you?
Yeah, we are, because you'd have to get around that.
Okay.
I guess as far as public access, you would have to walk over private property to get to it.
Right, I think they're
So-
talking about people coming from the other way, like running into the dunes, and,
Oh, okay.
you know. So they had erected a fence. I think that was allowed during the original permit.
Yes, it was.
How would the gate work, Beth? Would that be, I mean, it'd be posts, the gate, and it'd be right up to where the roll-up piece of...
No, they
What
put
do
up
the
a
neighbors
dune,
have?
and they put up like a snow fence.
Is it a
There
post, two
wasn't,
posts?
there wasn't,
So
no.
somebody's put a
They have a
fence in
gate,
front of your
I
house
think.
and you
The woman
can't get
next
to
to
the
Yeah, but I don't think it's a
First
formal
house-
gate.
No, the first house as you come in
Yeah,
has, it's part of
This is
the
just-
fence.
yeah,
What they do is just roll it back.
Right.
And then
Okay.
you put it back
Yeah.
in the winter.
right.
That's what we always
Right.
did.
Yeah, that's what it looked, there
Yeah.
were no formal gates out there.
Yeah,
So
as long
this,
as- You know the gist, if we're not putting
It was right to the
structures, if you can
yeah,
flip
this
the
goes
fence
right to
back
the
and you
fence.
put matting down, yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
And then there's like the wires snipped,
right,
and then you can just roll the fence back.
right, and for the winter,
Put it right
wire it back,
again.
yeah.
I mean, it's not a real gate.
Consistent here.
It shouldn't be a major problem.
Well, from when I was down there today, there's already people who have the exact same thing down.
Wanted to do that.
They have an opening, one, I didn't see the gate, I just saw an opening cut in the, snow fence. And it is just a snow fence.
The only person that has that roll-up type is the first, that's the Hunts, the first person on the road coming.
No, the other, oh, what, the
others
gate?
do not have any gates.
No,
It's
they
just
just,
an opening.
yeah, they just opened it up.
That's all.
Right, exactly. They just cut the snow fence.
No one else has a permit beside me. I mean, we just, you know. But anyway.
Don't go there.
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
go there.
Jeff, was there a second notification of the abutters? There was a second, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think the other thing we talked about too is planting beach grass somewhere, you know, between your house and where the fence is. That's all sand.
Yes, I'd be happy to do that.
That would just enhance the, what's there.
Yes, that used to all be rose bushes, but they
Yeah. It happens, but that would be a nice thing if you
Yes.
did that.
And, you know, when you were there, you saw those metal
Yeah.
posts. You know, those were put there because that's town land.
But that's scary, though.
No, I will take them out, but I never put them in there, you know.
You know what, it was like a wire fence had been put up in those metal posts.
Yep.
Well, there's like this much, they've been broken off. All right, and it's rusted, and there's like this much sticking out of the sand.
They need to be dug
Now, next storm, they might be covered with sand, but to me, it was like, if anyone fell out there today,
Now, I have
you were gonna get hurt.
too. I don't want them to get hurt.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Sure.
But you see, excuse me, you see, I got a letter from Ms. Gibbs' lawyer saying that I could not go over town land unless I had a permit, so we haven't touched that area.
Yeah. Well, I'm just concerned about those metal
Right.
posts sticking up out of it. For anybody.
So,
It's a
am I
hazard.
allowed to take them out?
I say yes, but the rest of the board. would
Are they
have to.
on town property?
It's on town property.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, then the town
They-
should
they-
take them out.
they only have
Should be able
safety
They're-
hazard, right?
They're definitely hazardous.
Take them out.
I mean, there's like.
Well,
four.
that's,
There's two of them.
that's
Well, I
beside
saw two.
Yeah,
giving
I'm
your
sure,
permit for the
yeah.
damn sidewalk.
yeah.
So, do we have a motion?
Does anybody else have a comment? Anybody in the room?
Wait, do I take them out or don't I?
I think that you should go for your permit for the fence, then we'll talk about the stakes.
Yeah.
I want to get to your permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep
Well,
it simple.
We've allowed the gas company to go in and remove sections of old gas pipe and other things to clean stuff up, so I can't believe that's a big deal.
No.
It's a safety hazard. I
Who's going to
think
go
that we should-
after her
Yeah.
if she pulls
Right.
out a couple dangerous metals?
You can blame it on Frank if they say anything, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Frank said it. Frank
All right.
called
Well, then
somebody
I
else.
make a motion to close.
I second.
Second.
Pat, do you have any other comments?
No.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye, yeah, with those conditions, yep.
Thank you.
Great, thanks a lot. Thank you for
And
coming in,
has to take
appreciate
the
it.
metal out.
See you next meeting.
All right, what else have we got for scheduled hearings? Anything?
Yes, we have the certificate of compliance for, name of the street again? Shoal Water. This was, there's a closing, was the closing today or tomorrow, or? Okay. All right, so this is a single-family home that was a knockdown and a rebuild, and it went through permitting a little bit differently as far as the approved plans, so maybe Brad and the property owner can explain
Okay.
how it works.
Good evening, members of the commission. Along with me is Scott Caulfield for 10 Showwater Road. In 2000 or so, I permitted it with Ralph Cole of MR Surveying, a single-family home reconstruction project at 10 Showwater Road, which was Scott's project. The house, there had always been a single-family home there with lawn, septic system in the front. We got a order of conditions from the Conservation Commission. I don't know if you have a plan, I can bring this up as well.
Just kind of hold it up, Brad.
Sure. To construct a new home with associated driveway within the general footprint of the existing house. The septic system area was abandoned because he was able to connect to town sewage. Along with the permit that we received from the commission, there was a requirement to put mitigation shrubs along the edge of the wetland along his property, which he did in 2012. They are there, they're in good condition. So what we're here to seek is a certificate of compliance to close out the order of conditions. There's two minor deviations from the order of conditions as I see it. The house has been constructed within the footprint that's approved. The deviations from the order is that he has installed a picket fence, about a 4-foot-high open picket fence along the edge of the lawn in the back, just for safety purposes for his he's got a young daughter. And as called out in the letter, he has installed a sprinkler system, irrigation system in the lawn area. Those are the deviations from the order. I think when Pat has reviewed the file, there's an existing conditions plan of the existing house, which we have, the proposed house, which is basically the same as shown. The proposed house as permitted actually had a good deal of grading around the house. He didn't do the grading that was permitted with the plan as much. He just left the area flat, and it's a walkout. The house is raised quite a bit for the first floor because of the floodplain on site.
Does it back right up to the pond?
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Washington.
Yeah,
right
okay.
here. This is, as you know, Musquashkett Pond's ringed with, phragmites around the edge, so that wetland here is really just a thicket of phragmites, which goes right to the edge of the existing lawn. So really, as I said, the two deviations are that the fence and the irrigation system. The fence doesn't prohibit wildlife movement, it's open. There isn't, a wildlife need of, you don't have large mammals coming from a wooded area trying to get to Musquashkett Pond because it's all developed in road. The fence doesn't prevent floodwaters because it's open, water will go right through it. And the irrigation system was to maintain the lawn. As I saw the lawn isn't a perfect turf lawn. It's similar to my lawn. It's got, plenty of crabgrass and weeds in it, so it's not over-fertilized. His intent was just to maintain the lawn. So we're seeking the certificate of compliance. I can pass around the proposed conditions plan from what you permitted, if you'd like to take a look, and also the existing conditions plan showing the house that was on the lot prior to your
What year
order
is
condition.
this?
Excuse me?
This was just a year or two ago, right?
Yeah, it's about 2 years ago.
How many?
About two, I'd say it's about 2
Yeah.
years, because I had to go in front of the zoning board to get this all approved.
You can-
Yeah.
This is the, prior to receiving your permit. This was ordered, this was the site plan record that the order of conditions was issued on.
But we can't.
Pass it around.
Thank you.
That's not our gig anyway, so.
Huh?
That's not our gig anyway. Irrigation.
This is the as-built plan that Morse Engineering has just completed, and you'll see that the house is, the same size as permitted. You'll see that
Just the grading's a little
the
different.
grading is different because he didn't actually do this amount of grading around the house because he didn't need to.
That's the only thing that's missing that we usually get on the as-built is the grading at the end.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't compare that with the plan,
They
it's
just
all
left it with
flooding
us.
of a neighbor issue, and that's why we.
So what, he does have the grades here, it's a little faint in color, but he didn't actually do the grading that was, so he was permitted to go up to 12 around the house and then go to the.
So there's less fill.
There's less
Yeah.
fill.
There's only fill I did, it was, I did a
Is that
retaining,
one of
I
the
did a,
streets
re-
that goes like straight
no, I
down?
did a retaining wall to the driveway, and I just
The
pitched it
driveway.
off the driveway. I did no fill
Yeah,
around the whole
straight
driveway.
Down a little further, then it's flatter down there. Because these up, as you come around the curve and go down the hill,
Yeah, I mean, a lot
those
of
drop
times the
off like
faint
a.
ones are what it was originally, and it
Hundred
isn't
clips.
really as
Yeah,
much
he's
as that.
right here. No,
Yeah.
it's very straight.
Well, it doesn't look like it was
It's
altered.
very flat.
You
The
know?
house is actually shrunk.
Right.
Yeah.
The house was shrunk and they didn't.
They didn't
slope
alter
that.
and fill, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Really, so it was the original, okay.
So that's it?
And
The
it's
as
shown in a light.
Yeah, but he,
Yeah,
those
right,
are
they're
already
not
built,
proposed.
they just
Yeah.
Like would have and
Okay.
those that are.
2 nights ago.
You're doing it.
Anybody?
If this was only two years ago, I know in the orders, it said no irrigation.
So honestly, I didn't, to be honest with you guys, I didn't know anything about the order, about the sprinklers. Sprinkler, you can put a
Well-
fence, you can put a bird bath.
We've decided that's not in our purview anyway, right, Frank?
What's that? I mean, as far as the...
The order,
the order,
yeah.
Right.
Well, we've been putting it in our orders that there's not a
You're supposed to read the
sprinkler.
orders. I mean, that's not my fault.
I don't put it in our
It's
orders.
An excuse. Okay, so I
Probably
don't know
stopped
what the
doing
board
that
wants
for a
to do
while.
with
No.
that.
Because it's not
I
us.
don't have a problem with the fence because it is a fence. And things can go through it and I can understand, you know, children up there. But I'm only one.
Yep.
Bill?
The other thing about the fence is that it was, it's on existing lawn. I don't think anything had to be cleared to put the fence in. It was an original lawn there.
Oh, yeah, no, the lawn used to go
Yeah.
right down to
Yeah.
the, you know, and now the Phragmites is slowly.
The plantings are all in. Brad put plantings outside the fence between the fence
Yeah.
and the Phragmites.
Yeah. I don't really have a problem with that, but
Okay.
more board members.
I'm good.
Richard?
I agree with Penny about the irrigation, but I'm tempted to, I don't want to say let it go, but in view of the not doing the grading and the other adjustments, sort of leave it as a switch off.
Okay. Okay, so did the order say no irrigation?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we do.
Said no irrigation.
So you can disconnect
3-4
it.
years we've
That's what
been saying.
I was gonna, if you guys are fine, I was just gonna,
Disconnect it.
can I ask, can you put a well down there? Because the buyers wanna keep the irrigation, this is the conflict I'm having.
Yeah.
But if they could put a well in there, could they maintain that irrigation?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, they'd have to go.
We just had a
Put a private
conversation
well,
about that an
yeah.
hour ago, yeah.
Yeah. Drill a private well and. They could put a private well in there if Yeah. they want? Okay, that's good to know.
For irrigation, not for,
Okay.
Not for
household
Franklin.
use.
No, just for irrigation, I was just concerned. Okay.
Okay.
So it'll state that the sprinkler system can't be used with town water.
Without, except if it has a well put installed.
Good? I'm good.
And Neil issued a occupancy permit for the house. So
Okay.
It was kind of done in between, there was no agent here, and the plans, there was an existing plan and a foundation plan, and then a third plan. But the as-built kind of takes a look at the whole site, and it didn't seem to deviate from what the original intent was.
Right. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna issue that.
Sounds good.
No, we
All
don't
right.
have to vote on a CSC.
No, we don't vote, but you can do.
We just wanted to.
When will you get it?
Yeah,
The thing I'm having is just it's holding up the closing on the home, and they want to
Sure.
buy it tomorrow,
Carol,
as
when-
early as tomorrow. Is
when-
there anything I can just get in writing saying it's to come, like an email or something from somebody?
Yeah, we could send something.
Just
yeah.
saying that it's approved?
Yeah, certificate
If-
is, it takes a few
You
days
can pick it
to
up
issue.
tomorrow.
is pending.
Oh, really?
Pick it up
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Oh, okay, even better,
But
okay.
call Carol before you come
Okay,
to make sure it's done.
okay.
All right, don't
Yep.
come at 8.
Look alive, boys.
Yeah, sit up straight.
well, thank you very much.
Have a good
Thanks,
night.
guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
See you.
Are they brothers? Those twins? Yeah, that's amazing.
Good luck. All right, see you later.
Don't forget this was
What else we got?
She did a great job.
What else do we have?
Right, but he said, what's it?
Oh, I'll make a motion that we accept the orders of condition for
you're right.
Hamilton Ave as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
That number.
I don't know, what's the revised plan for
Yeah,
39
that's-
Dayberry?
39 Dayberry is off of Bailey's Causeway.
Yeah.
And this is with the helix. I don't know what's the name.
Oh, yeah. The footings.
Wiped out every year footings. And there's a set of drawings from chairman here. There's a letter.
You know, they do moorings like that now?
Was that?
They
Yeah,
do moorings
yeah.
like that now.
Seems like a lot better way to do it.
Yeah, because those two 3,000 pound
Yeah.
blocks I have are gonna drag away.
Is that big house?
So where are these going, Pat?
Corner. They're going right in here.
What's the address?
That'd be the new native.
39 Bayberry Road.
39?
Proposed
Pile.
There's no building there.
Yeah, it's, it says limit of salt marsh.
Are they talking about doing the garage? This garage is saying existing garage to be raised in same footprint with 6 piles.
It's the garage.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
they're showing it,
yeah,
Yeah, this
yeah,
looks like a
yeah,
garage to
yeah.
me.
Yeah,
6
you're right.
circular piles, right?
Oh, that's at the very end
Okay.
there, huh?
Is there an elevation view of the proposed?
Can I just see what
Showing us any detail.
So here's Bailey's Causeway, and there's Bayberry Road, and then keep going down.
you're trying to... Okay, you can stop right there.
Not much information on the
This
front.
this one.
You know, though, we
No,
go both
I-
ways on that. We have people
It's,
come in and they go, we're gonna
yeah,
hand dig 12-inch
That
saw.
big White House that looks
Put a
like
24-inch footing, and then we, you
the one
know,
they just built.
bigger projects we usually have.
So basically, they want to take the
All right.
existing garage and put it on this
Yes.
hill too, and then it looks like they're going to remodel the garage.
Yeah.
must be pretty down there.
Yeah,
You know, what, here's the thing,
okay.
Yeah,
in the houses.
yeah. It's a nice,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And is
right.
this, are they looking for minor activities or?
No, just request a review revised plan. They already got this plan approved, and they're just gonna
Oh, amend,
change, yes.
okay,
Big white
Change
All right.
it.
that one
okay.
desert island.
So do we have to vote on it?
You just look like a.
Stick with the file, so when they come in for the as-built, this is on the as-built.
I make a motion, we accept the revised plan for 39 Bayberry.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we did that.
It's warm in here.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes of September 17th as written.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that stuff's done up top.
What about Colby's Run?
Okay, you may have it up there.
I got it here.
Yeah, the one thing on this, it's all set for certificate of compliance, but it called for a restrictive covenant in the original order of conditions, and I wasn't familiar with that. So Carol pulled one out and said this was used in the past. So this is Liam Vickers.
Oh, didn't you email us that? Didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Carol
Yeah.
said she
Yeah.
dug it up from.
Yeah.
So that's a new one,
Archives.
but we're thinking maybe we should ask Toomey if this is something that would outlast the certificate of compliance closes out an order. Maybe this will stay on a deed.
Well, this looks like it says it's perpetual.
Right, but how do you keep it perpetual?
Doesn't it get recorded with a deed?
That's what I'm wondering. I mean, but now when they're closing out, you know, they're getting their certificate.
Yeah.
We say there's perpetual conditions, but legally, I don't know if that holds up. So, I mean, this looks like it's a legal document that would stay with the deed even after they get a certificate of compliance.
Right.
What is the nature or purpose of it?
It predates all of us. It was an old commission that voted this in several years ago.
It's because it says it's binding on William Hogan and its successors and assigns in
Perpetuity.
Thank you.
That's what I'm here for, Frank.
P word.
I should have let you make about 6 more
Go ahead.
attempts. Yeah.
Thanks.
So we talked to Liam about it. He says that shouldn't be a problem, so he's all set.
Okay.
But I may run it by Toomey just to say, what does this mean legally?
He's got enough work this week. Let's just.
Just do it.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a great guy.
We've done it before.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
do it. Just do it.
Okay.
All right, so that's done.
What else?
All right, can you go quickly through your enforcement?
Huss, down on Hatherley.
Yeah.
We went out there today, and it may be a possible buildable lot. So they're having it surveyed, and they're having a wetland line delineated on that. This is one where the cutting took place across near
Yeah,
Bill's
those
house.
two, the older couple were here because it
Yeah.
was their neighbors. So,
Right,
yeah.
and it turns out the cutting may be 50 feet away from the wetland. So they're gonna have it surveyed and they're gonna have it delineated. They may try to come in for a lot on that.
Okay.
If not, we can ask them to do some plantings of the trees that,
Yeah.
trees might be between 50 and 100, so.
Okay.
Mr. Ayer, there's a letter from Jim Toomey today, and I wasn't able to open it, but I'll get it to you tomorrow.
Okay.
See what he's up to on that. Mr. Bongazone, I met with him, he is pulling up the land, he's bringing in equipment, he's gonna pull up the grass and give
Okay.
back the buffer.
Great.
Good boy.
We'll see. Collier Road, the fence is out, the one that was in the marsh.
Yep.
On the beach, it's gone.
Good.
And, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see, who's left? Anybody left?
Pat, I have to agree with Lisa.
What?
Oh, this is.
Gotta go.
Which one, which?
Duffy.
Oh, Duffy, okay,
go.
yeah, yeah,
It's a
Gotta
no.
go.
yeah,
All right.
Something has to happen quick,
yeah.
though.
And there's
I
also
mean-
been
Yeah,
some
you're right.
research done that there's some zoning violations out there that could be taken care of, too.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah,
Otherwise, that stuff's gonna be floating down
Yeah.
that road very shortly.
absolutely,
Okay.
I mean, so next week, maybe?
yes, next week.
All right. Wait.
We sent the letter, she didn't answer.
And what,
so-
and what
No,
date?
wait, things didn't start happening right after the letter?
Yeah, right, yeah.
How many letters is this?
We could be out of here at 8:30,
So-
Richard, if you brought
Do we have a commitment date by which this must be done?
Well,
June?
I mean, she's not
Yes.
physically in the house, so it's sending letters, other than we track her down to wherever she lives, but,
No, the answer is this dance has got a few more songs to it.
well,
So
At least we
maybe
can
we
make
should
it bad.
Yeah.
Pursue the
miserable.
other avenue.
yeah, there's a couple of things, but,
Well, but something has to happen with the debris in the yard. It
Yes.
can't stay.
right.
I mean, we've already
And
had
the
floods
storage
there this
container
year.
exceeds the
Just
6
last week.
We
months.
wrote the enforcement order, did that get sent to her or not?
I don't think any enforcement, I think it's just your letter.
It wasn't return receipt requested, and therefore service
May I
wasn't received,
remind
from what I
everyone,
recall.
because the new people on the board don't remember, this all started as a violation of her cutting trees down. And to this date, she has not done what she's supposed to, she's just keeps making.
No, it grows. The violations are growing.
There was
Yeah,
supposed to
they
be
just keep
multiplying.
replanting of the trees as well as removal of the storage containers, and there's still a storage container, and now there's additional
We
construction.
already had her before.
All right, well, what are we gonna do about it? We all know
Well,
the
we gotta
story.
do something. I mean, this is serious.
the brick? I know.
Yeah, she was allowed to keep the storage container all summer, but now it's beyond the 6 months, so.
All right, are we giving her fines? Are we gonna do an enforcement? What are we doing? What do we wanna do?
Give her 30 days and then say 30 days to remove the debris and the container, and then the fines will commence.
All right.
How's that?
Why 30 days?
Or we
Yep.
go to court. We
think
gotta,
Bill-
I mean, we gotta do something.
I think building could do something with the,
I would hope
Do
so.
you understand a storm could come in within 30 days and dump that stuff in the South River?
Well,
Very easily.
Okay.
But you
The
do have
water's
to give
been in
them
the road
warning,
twice already. It's
Yes, it
only
has.
October.
That's right.
all right.
what's Peggotty Beach Road, Phil?
So do you want to make it 2 weeks?
Yes,
That's one of,
2 weeks sounds good.
Frank, is the lot that, I couldn't find a restoration plan for this one. This is the one where there's
For
2 lots.
Hoffler?
What's that?
Hoffler.
For
Yeah.
Hoffler.
Yes, yes. The enforcement, I went through the file, there's 2 different enforcement orders, but there was a requirement for a restoration plan, but there wasn't, it doesn't look like one has been done.
Really?
So is that where we are?
Yeah.
That
Okay,
was Maribito.
okay.
supposed
So
to
it
get
hasn't
that
been
done.
done, but the debris, I don't know if the debris is removed either.
They're just
No, the
hoping that we go
mounds,
away and they can
Okay.
continue to do what they wanna do, but that's not gonna happen,
Okay.
so.
So should we invite them to get on the agenda for next time?
Sure.
and Bring them in?
They're not gonna be here, but go ahead.
Okay.
Well, if they're not gonna be here, what,
Yeah, tell them.
You got to give them the chance,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah,
again?
but this has been going on for years too, us being ignored.
So
Okay.
another letter or enforcement order or what?
I just,
Is it
Enforcement
Or everything
order.
should be enforcement orders. They ignore letters. They ignore enforcement orders, so yeah.
But the enforcement orders, DEP will step in,
right.
so.
Well, this has been going on for probably 3 years.
Well, I just heard about it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
No, but
this is the
I'm-
first time I've heard of
You
it.
know, it's been going on for 3
Right.
years.
Yeah, I believe you.
I'd say.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Teak Sherman, the community garden, I guess there was a letter that came out, we all got a copy from Vinnie Buca, asking that he spoke to some people from Sustainable Scituate who have not contacted me, and I'm like their liaison, that they would like to enlarge the garden over there. And
Is there a demand for that, or is it?
They would love to have some more farmland. I think we're gonna have to try and find them some in the future, but I don't believe forestering that area we can allow, because we have wetlands, we have a little stream on one side, and over on the other side it's all wet, then you hit the water building. I say, no, we're not in line. The only reason we started that as a community garden was that was an open field.
Right.
So we turned it into vegetable gardens, which is, the place is packed, yes. They've hit the wall, and I keep looking, and
Where are we?
we're across the street at Teak Sherman.
There's a little park, if you're going down 3A.
Yep.
Through the lights at
Sign
First
just
Parish,
went
on
up.
your right, there's a little park you can go in, it's called Teak Sherman Park.
Okay.
If you go in there, there's a small field.
Oh, cool.
Right across from the lawn board.
So why wouldn't we,
okay.
oh, I know exactly where that is.
Because
Oh, okay.
it's
Hi,
in the
Rosemary.
buffer zone.
Hi, Rosemary.
Hi.
The whole-
What wetlands are back there?
She got out
Oh.
at 7:30.
8:30, but yes. It's
Oh,
nice,
it's all
some people
wetlands.
can
All
run,
right.
you know?
Well, he's gonna yell at me anyway, so I'll stop asking.
What's that?
Nothing?
No,
Sir.
it's all wetlands, we know that. First
Well,
Parish,
yeah, I
that
know.
house.
Used to
We
flood.
got the
We used to have
wetlands.
four-wheel drive to that street.
And you got the little intermittent stream, so I
Right.
would say, those trees should not be taken down to give them more gardening. We're in a buffer zone.
Or maybe I'll take a look at it sometime, I'll just walk in.
Yeah, you can walk in, but you'll see, because that house on First
Okay.
Parish, we have the issues with wetlands there.
His house,
Yeah,
my partner, yeah.
Whatever, yeah,
Yeah.
the one was
Yeah.
nice. But,
Count your blessings.
I'm keeping my eyes open. I know they want some more space. They'd love to do some more
Sounds like a
gardening.
cool idea.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
Sounds like something we wanna have, so.
okay,
But I don't think we can do it there.
all right, well, we'll take a look.
Yeah,
All
well,
right.
you go over and look. You know,
Okay.
the stream runs right down the whole
All right.
side of it. The
Okay.
intermittent stream.
All right.
That's it for me.
That's it.
I don't know
It's
what
all
else
good.
is
Pat's
on.
all packed up, that means we're done.
Motion
Somebody
to
has
close?
to-
Second.
Anybody that wants any great ideas on town forests, I got a whole slew of them.
So, yeah.
You hitting
We get a
stop
call-
play
we get a
there,
call
Carol?
today from Father McNamara.
Yeah, we make a motion to
Up on Maple
close.
Street.
Yeah.
Adjourn.
Yeah,
Close.
second,
Second.
second.
Donald?
Second.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you, good job.
Guy,
Just keeping it rolling.
the Miles property.
Yeah, yeah.
So the priest that has the house.
Yeah.